Firstly, heartiest congratulations to all of you for your successful attempt for the both prelims and the mains. You have prelims also, no? Now you clear the mains also. Okay, good. So the interviews will be starting sometime, I think, around first week of September, as I was told, right? And will continue for about a month plus, depending on the candidates. How many people have qualified total? 806. 806. Okay. So they'll have about, I think, or how many vacancies? About 394. So they've called twice the number. Okay, good. So firstly, the OPSC syllabus and the UPSC syllabus was synchronized actually to the same extent during my time. So I said that the people have to appear, prior to that the syllabus was not the same, with little minor differences. So we had the similar syllabus just to help people to clear both the OPSC and UPSC simultaneously. And it did give us a lot of dividends during that time. And post my PSC, I was in UPSC for 2 years. So during that time also I met a lot of people from Odisha who has cleared the OPSC and then went on to clear the UPSC also. When I asked them as to what added advantage you had, he said, sir, we didn't have to prepare again. And only thing is that sometimes the timings for both the mains or the prelims were some or the other not suiting. But since the syllabus was the same, it helped us. So now that you are on the process of having cleared the OPSC, and let me share with you that clearing an OPSC mains all prelims is as difficult as clearing the UPSC. I've been involved in guiding certain people at the UPSC level in Delhi, where there are more than about, in a class of this nature, will be something about more than 500 students attending. So I've been interacting with these people and watching them. So I find, there is no difference in quality of students, let me tell you this. If you have to appear for UPSC tomorrow, you are all have potential even to clear the UPSC. That's number one. So having said that, since this is a 3-stage selection process, that is, you have firstly mains, then you followed by prelims, and then followed by the interview, what do you call it? It's the last stage is very important. Though the ratio, we kept it always double, twice. Sometimes we used to call it 2.25. This time the UPSC had called it about 2.3. But usually it is around 2+, rarely get into 3. So your chances of success are pretty high, that at least 50% is chance of success. But what matters is that since it is a sum total of your written test marks and the interview marks, so even if you sometimes perform not very well in the interview and you have done well in the written test, then you make the grade. Or if you have not done well in the written test and you perform well in the interview, then you still make the grade. Okay. So the importance of interview comes in the space that the total range of marks or deviation of marks in the written test, final written marks in the written test are concerned, the first guy and the last guy, the cutoff, say let's 800 people have been called. So between these 800 people, the first guy marks and the last guy marks, difference will not be more than 100. 100 with the sabu almost fit plus sometime plus minus variation 15-20%, that's the difference. But the majority of the thing that comes within this 100. And the interview marks, how much is nowadays? 250 they kept, how much? 250, I think that it's not changed, while the UPSC is 275. Okay. So out of 250 marks, a candidate can get even 50 marks, or a candidate can get even 200 marks. So the range is 150. So you can well imagine that your interview or the personality test is so important that tomorrow, if for some reason you have not been able to perform well in the written test, by sheerly excelling in a preparation for interview, you can obviate any deficiency that you have in a written test and be a successful candidate. Why I am telling this is that a lot of people, they think, are mo to written hegala amar mains he jaichi. I have sufficient knowledge. Ab kon pacharibe emiti? Anybody non-ODI here? Anybody who doesn't understand ODI? Okay, good. So in between I can speak in ODI. Sabu ODI to puchta to? So kon enti pacharibe ki yere tikke newspaper padi debi. Let me go through some magazines. Let me go to certain YouTubes. Okay, and so on and so forth. And I should be ready. And a lot of people start thinking that how can I prepare so much? So the interview re court bhi kichhi bhi pachar debe. Mo pai kon eta sambhav, will it be possible for me that in next 10, 15, 20 days, whatever time I get, 1 month, ମୁଁ କେବେ ତ କେବେ ପ୍ରିପେୟାର କରିପାରିବିନି। ଯାହା ହବ ସେଇଠି ଦେଖିଦେବ, ଠାକୁର ଉପରେ ଛାଡ଼ିଦେବା। ଓକେ, ମୁଁ ସେଇଠି ଦେଖିଦେବି। ସୋ ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ଭାବନାଟା ଆସିଯାଏ କି ମୁଁ ଠାକୁର ଉପରେ ଛାଡ଼ିଦେବି, ସେଇଠି ଦେଖିଦେବି, ମୁଁ କେମିତି ପ୍ରିପେୟାର କରିବି, କେମିତି ପଢ଼ିବି। ଓକେ, ମୁଁ ତ ଏତେ ପାଠ ପଢ଼ିଛି, କିଛି ନା କିଛି ତ ମୋର ତ ନଲେଜ ଥିବ। ମୋର ନଲେଜ ନଥିଲେ ମୁଁ କ'ଣ ମେନ୍ସ କ୍ଲିୟର କରିପାରିଥାନ୍ତି କି? ୟୁ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ଡୁଇଂ ସେଲ୍ଫ ଭ୍ୟାଲିଡେସନ୍ ଟୁ ୟୋର ସେଲ୍ଫ and start thinking that the next step is only a question of luck and not a question of preparation. And that is the mistake, cardinal mistake you do. Because though the range is so wide that you can swing your marks by even 100 marks, let me tell you. But the failure or the loss to get even 5 marks or 10 marks extra, जोटा तुम भावुच कि मु आउ टिके भल्ल कहतले मु एक्स्ट्रा मिल जाई थांता 10 marks खंडे, that makes the difference between a success and failure. Because when the final merit list comes, okay, when you add both written and your interviews, especially for the general candidates, the difference are very, very marginal. Difference are very, very marginal. And if the general candidates haven't done well, despite having come to a cutoff, because we have certain reservations for reserve candidates, you have more number of reserve candidates coming up. But it doesn't mean that reserve candidates say कि मैं जहाँ भी करते मैं pass हो जाऊँगी. Because amongst the reserve candidates also there is a very strong competition. So in nutshell, what I want to say is that the answer to succeed in the personality test or the interviews lies nothing but preparation. The question comes, sir, ଆପଣ ଟିକେ କହି ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ନା ମୁଁ କ'ଣ ପ୍ରିପେୟାର କରିକି ଯିବି, what should I prepare? ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଯେତେ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ ଅଛି ଆପଣ, I think during my time I had after a long time I did the first civil services parikha. Almost I think 10-12 years पर्यंत पूरा बंद ହେଇକି ଥିଲା because of the litigations. That's a different story, I had to fight hard with the system and get this thing. OCS parikha, OJS parikha, assistant executive engineer जो PWD वालंकर जो होची सेटा 16 वर्ष पर हैला. OJS came after 8 years, like this. ये सब बड़ा lock ହେଇକି ଥିଲା in the legal process. It took me a lot of time to actually open these things, and I think during my time I had about almost 4 civil service exams during my time, and you could put a large number of people in the civil services. Coming back to what I was trying to mention to you, because you are in the preparation stage, the question comes in everybody's candidates ki, what is it that the panel of people sitting in the interview board, what is it they look for in a candidate? So here comes the issue of personality. Interview is also called a personality test. A lot of people think personality, yaar, more the personality hochi yaar. Seta kon hochi? I have studied in a ABCD school. Seti to mu badhiya English kohutli. Class se to mu badhiya mark rakhuchi. Okay, rakhithili. मोर प्रिपरेशन क्लास रे कोचिंग क्लास रे कहते कि अरे ये जदि क्लियर करिवो ना गोटे पिला जदि हमर क्लियर करिवो ही इज द वन इज गोना क्लियर ओके मो बढ़िया पाठ पढ़ सब कुछ कौन अच्छी किछि मोर एज इट इज आई गॉट इनबिल्ट पर्सनालिटी मते ओ किछि प्रिपेयर करिया दरकार नै मु इंग्लिश ठीक कहि दउची अंग्रेजी ठीक कहि दउची ये करची कथा बार्ता करची आई एम कॉन्फिडेंट दिस एंड दैट एटा देखुता कौन देखुतबे the moment you start thinking like this, in your mind, you create an identity to yourself, an identity which is shrouded in lack of competence, lack of confidence, and also insecurity. These are very common things. कौन देखिए person more personality ठीक ठाक अच्छे मुझे किसी prepare करने दरकार नहीं. So coming to the now nuts and bolts, what is it that you're going to ask me and see is that the first thing that we look for as a part of personality is that your power of understanding or power of comprehension. I'll rattle out a couple of those qualities that you look for. and then I'll start explaining to you what does it mean. The first is a power of comprehension. The second that you look for is a power of expression. The third that we look for is your general awareness. Okay. The fourth that you look for is your leadership. And the fifth that you look for is your response to emergency situations. That's the total 5 qualities that you look for. So can you just repeat it with me? What is it? What did you look for? Power of, everybody, power of first is? Power of comprehension. And second is? Power of expression. And third is? General awareness. Fourth? Leadership qualities. And fifth? Response to emergency situation. Clear? Pasta angle to pasta here? Huh? Yes or no? Before I start explaining, गोटे माइंड रू गोटे जिनस पर रिमूव कर दियो कि जार किसी गोटे कनेक्शन अच्छी से निश्चय सिलेक्ट हो जार से जनाशुना अच्छी किसी सिलेक्ट हो ओके वी आर ह्यूमन बीइंग्स इज अ सोशल वर्ल्ड I can't rule out that particular influence, but let me tell you that influence is very, very marginal, sometimes to the tune of even 1 or 2%. And it even sometimes doesn't matter, even if it's basically written a bhalo karni. So when you are preparing a mindset, for God's sake, take that out first. कि मोर के चिन्हा परिचय नहांती मु काहाको जानिनी कि अमक मु बापा को कहिदेबी कि काहाको से काहाको जानिथिबे अमक करथिबे चेक कर पैनल रे किए अछंती अमक किए अछंती ओके if I am not in touch, but my time what I should do is just 5-10 minutes before the interview I have to scramble all the members to an interview, the people who used to come for interview. If Professor X or Mr. X was to come for board 3, agur jaitbo board 3 mo na jaiti board 3 mu taku koi deithibi, but sedi pahunchile belku this his name may not be in board 3, will be in board 1 or board 2. Last 5 minutes I used to absolutely scramble it. And the second thing to bring in transparency was Jemiti interview soribo. The results are immediately pasted, signed, sealed, signed, and loaded in the computer. Jota ki till now UPS also still doesn't follow it. They have still got a thing called a moderation, which I have objected. I was part of the Civil Services Reforms Committee, which I have objected to that. So we have one of the finest systems, that's what I want to tell you, OPSC, what's a Public Service Commission, and we are adjust one of the best commission in 2019 in the country because of these practices that we have. So coming back to the first issue of power of comprehension. Power of comprehension is that in simple thing, if whatever is I am asking you, whether you are able to understand this question or no, question that thik bujhi parchu ki nahi. Sometimes questions are straight, that's not a problem. Sometimes questions are little rounded. Sometimes questions are ambiguous also. It may not be a design, but the fact is sometimes members even do ask very, very stupid questions or ambiguous questions, that you have no hold over it. So various types of questions do come in. And you should be lucky that if you are asked a question straight and you're able to grasp that particular question. Say for instance, if I had to ask a straight question, could be, what do you understand by Project Subhadra? Odisha government has done something for the upliftment and empowerment of the women. What do you understand by Project Subhadra? It's a direct question. A little rounded question would be that government of Odisha has created so much of schemes, for empowerment of women. Okay. Which you think is one of the best programs, and can you explain about it? So you are now mulling over. Co-program ta tankar achi, 3-4 program achi, kon achi kariki. Okay, you are still not sure whether it is Subhadra or something else. Okay. The third question could be that the state, all over India, the state governments are working on empowerment of women. Do you really think that the schemes which are being initiated by the state governments, okay, are really empowering women, or they are populist in nature? Explain with one example that is there in the state government. Everybody is aiming for Subhadra. But 3 types of question. Do you agree with me or not? Yes. So first question, if you know about Subhadra, let us take it. You got onto it. You understood it. Here comes the question of why people are not able to comprehend. Language, the English, everybody understands. Okay. They might ask also Oriya also. So why is, what's your name, Betty? Abhipsa. What's your name? Dinesh. Why the same question Dinesh is able to understand properly, maybe Abhipsa is not able to understand properly? Because during the course of the interview, you are in a different state of mind, not like this what you are sitting. Because you are working against a things of success and failure. Muti bhool koi debi, fail easy. There's a fear in you. Okay. Bhab tumu jaha bhi kohibi, best kohibi. Okay. So there is an inherent palpitations within the body. Question ta kaun pacharibe tame jani no. You come and sit down and so karike. So when a question of Subhadra comes in, even if you have read Subhadra 10 times, at a point of time, कहला बेलको Subhadra ta bahari boni pathru. Because there is something which is working within your body. Sometimes even the interview officers do mistakes. I have actually pointed out many times to many people also. Don't ask questions. Possibly they'll start, firing you like a machine gun with questions and all. Okay. Sometimes mistakes do take place, but then it happens. But coming back to what I'm trying to tell you is that power of comprehension is that if direct SQL, I'm happy, but if the other things are there, okay, then I'm trying to figure out कि ମୁଁ ସୁଭଦ୍ରା କହିବି कि ଆଉ କୋଉ ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ ଅଛି କହିବି कि is the question whether is asking for some all India program ଯୋଉଟାକୁ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି. Okay, and suddenly you get a little jolt. And in the question of jolt and nervousness, you start committing mistakes. You say कि mu in your mind you are working, mu mana kardebi ki eta janini, I don't know, can I ask the next question? But the fear is that if the next question comes, if I still don't know, then what will happen? So you want to take a try. If the second question that I gave you the example, ki that in the empowerment of women schemes, the government of Odisha has made many things. Can you pick up one and suggest? So you start clarifying it. Okay, sir, I think it is Project Subhadra that you are referring to. And if it is so, then I'm ready to explain it. So you are confirming yourself. Okay, so you are confirming yourself. So point to take home is that whenever you are not getting a direct question and you're not able to comprehend a particular question, what is the thing like, always clarify the question before you answer. And there is no harm in this. You are not going to be penalized for it. So what is the gundi that is supposing question that no buji parlo? Clarify. Okay, clarify. And clarification, there are various modes of clarifications. Sir, I couldn't get the full question. Can I have it again, please? Don't ask, sir, can you please ask the question again, please? Not that you really want it, but nervousness. Because you are in a different state of mind. Because you are being assessed. तुमको काढ़ी की सीट के आउट सीट बसे तब यू विल नॉर्मल. Okay, so see जो nervousness आसे at the point of time when question टा अपन बुझी पारुनो. Okay, the cardinal principle is that clarify and don't jump around कि मु जदि काली न कहली मु फेल हिजिबी. It's no. So always clarify a question before you answer. That is a part of a comprehension. Can I have a glass of water if you don't? Okay, it's a part of comprehension. Comprehension also has got understanding the language that is being questioned. The language what people sometimes interviewing officers asks may not be in a very straight language. Golmol kotha nahi gote golmol kotha hi gote. Some people will ask you little this thing. That time if you are not able to grasp it, you mate kon pacharle question ta. Again, have the wit around you. Sir, I couldn't get the question fully. Can I have the question again, please? Seek affirmation. Because if you start with a wrong understanding of the question, then you are starting the wrong foot. Are you understanding? So this is the most important part. There are a lot of derivatives of your qualities we immediately observe. You know, when you see you first, your self-confidence firstly. Okay, your ability to face the board by time you walk in and sit down and so on so forth. And studies have shown that if people are not confident, which sometimes gets manifested in a non-verbal expression. You understand what is non-verbal? What a verbal achi, what a non-verbal. जोड़ा तमे कहिबो सेटा हमें सुनी के एसेस करिबु. ओके आउ जोटा ए चाट दरकार है जस्ट वाटर आउ जोटा की नॉन वर्बल रे. And studies have shown that people who are not confident in their non-verbal माने केमती आसी बसिला केमती कहिला केमती हला usually also express lot of non-confidence in their verbal this thing. Are you able to understand what I mean to you? So it's important to improve that particular confidence in a non-verbal. That is what? Okay, I must walk in straight properly. I must dress myself properly. Okay, they'll tell you, you should be formally dressed. You should be comfortably dressed. बहुत पिला कहते टाई पिंध आजकल तो टाई पिंधु ना से मात्र परीक्षा पे टाईटा पिंध देवे एते जोर टाइट कर देथिबे टाइट से कथा कहि पर नथिबो. ओके और ताको लूज करते ढुल देथिबो. और ये कम प्रीवियसली फ्रॉम ट्रेन धर के बस धर के आसथिबो कोठी. ओके बेचारा को प्रेस करे को कोठी मिलिनी धार 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 के आसी झाड़ बहुत एकातर पहुंची गले एकातर. Okay. Or some girls who rarely wear saris. Now, I interview में साड़ी पिंधबी. Say सेतोल say they are so clad up like this that they are more worried about a sari than about the questions. ये जिनिसटा सब distract कर दिए. And it manifests into your first 5 minutes of the interview. First 5 minutes of the interview. Many times in interview, not even here, also in the UPSC, I say, okay, please sit down. First have a glass of water, I said. Pani tea piyo prathamre. Because we can immediately see you that you are in a state of nervousness. So, you must be thinking, sir, power of comprehension सहित ये dress कौन नहीं question link करचुंती. It is important because the first 5 minutes you make or break your interview. If you are confident yourself, you have put on a comfortable dress, okay, you have shaven nicely. तुम जैसे से पचार दला तुम shave करना, तुम कहीं shave करना, जब interview पचार दला. Now you are now defending yourself. Sir, more time not थिला sir. Actually, more blade टा हो जाए थिला sir. Okay, so you are now this thing करके. You don't know what to answer. You might be getting angry in between. How does it matter? मु दाढ़ी रख ली. आजकल ये बुढ़ाड़ा बसी इन सब क्वेश्चन पूछते. Okay, but forget about that. You have come here to take marks. Okay, so if you are well shaven that day for one day, okay, and if you can give you a little amount of more confidence, why not? बहुत लोग आते हैं मु बालटा मु काहे काटी भी बालटा मोर ते नेचुरल बाल अच्छे समान मत मु तो ओएस हो को जाउची ना मु तो पियोन हो को जाउनी कोन टाकला बालटा रख देले. I am giving you practical tips. It happens, and when they are questioned, they become defensive. And with defensiveness, they start losing self-confidence. And with lack of self-confidence, I have seen them stammering. And with this lack of self-stammering, your first thing, power of comprehension, goes down. You may be the most intelligent guy. But so कथाटा बुझी पारिबनी because your mind is not working in a different frequency. ये बुढ़ाटा मते काहे कला बाल काटिनी मते काहे कला मो ए ड्रेसटा पिंची बोली. Okay. So this is also part of preparation. If I have to go prepare, I should be grooming myself properly. I should be selecting my dress properly. Mo jota ta thik rahibo, mo falana thik rahibo. Okay, I should this thing so that I'm very comfortable. Why comfortable? Because you should be pleasing. तो मतलब बस सामने बसी you are going at the end you are transactional. You are like a businessman. भाई मतलब marks दरकार. बाहर वालों को जाओ चुके नहीं तो मैं मेकअप करे हैं. आजकल तो मुझे कुछ इसे जो रिसेप्शन वालों को गेस्ट पड़े असले से ब्राइड आसेनी अरे कुआड़े ना से सैलून रचे पार्लर रचे ओरी पार्लर रे अरे से दौड़ आवश्य कतरे पार्लर and obviously nowadays the saloons are parlors are so expensive so professional से पूरा कला रु धड़ा कर दो धड़ा रु कला कर दो चेंज से पूरा तो चेंज कर दो चेंज हम बेटर तुम एक्चुअली चिनी पाले थर्म आर यू द सेम गर्ल दैट आई सॉ यू सम टाइम बैक. Don't groom yourself so much for the interview. Okay, be absolutely comfortable. Okay, to be presentable, so that shirt पिनी देखो तो माँ को पचार माँ ये shirt मत भल लगुच your mother will give you the correct answer. Okay, this thing for the boys, is the shirt color okay? Can I wear this? So and so and so. You get the right answers. That confidence that you carry to the interviews and sitting down helps you in your power of comprehension. Are you getting the link? Yes or no? Okay. And this is the most important because तमे जदि क्वेश्चन बुझी पारिबनी आंसर कर दबो. Get it? Yes or no? So understand the question properly. If you can't understand, if you're not this thing, say clarify, and it may so happen that you don't know the answer. You question it goes like a bouncer to you. Takal, sir, I'm sorry, I don't know the. Be very, very polite. Sir, I don't know the answer to the question. Can I have the next question, please? Sometimes they'll try to put you down. It's a simple question, which is not a correct interview technique, but people do ask. Just smile and forget it. Okay, you wait for a next ball to come. Cricket khulcho na? Let me wait for the next ball. Okay. So, handling a question at the initial stage, understanding whether it's a direct question, whether it's a circumstantial question, whether it's a navigating question, or whatever the question it is that, the fact is that if you are not able to understand it, don't attempt it. Getting my point? This is the most important, because the moment we see that okay, our impressions start thinking, okay. The next thing comes is power of expression. Power of expression is not Angrezi. You must understand this. Okay, I speak good English, I speak so and so. It's not that. Power of expression is that mu jaha kauchi is the recipient able to understand. Mu jaha kauchi is my interview board able to understand what I am going to tell you. So what does it mean? If I have to tell, I must construct my answer in such a manner that it is logical, it is sequential, okay, it is simple, and fourth is to the point. What are the 4 points? Can you repeat? Logical, sequential, simple, and to the point. Say again. Logical, sequential, simple, and to the point. Let's see what is this logical. Logic is all about. So, for instance, a question comes to you that do you think the additional oil tariffs that the United States has imposed on India because of importing oil from Russia, what is your view on this? The logical part of it will be that the fact is that here your maturity comes. The fact that Russia, we have imported oil from Russia as a government policy. See, don't start saying, no, sir, India shouldn't have actually imported oil from Russia. Don't start saying something negative on the government policy. Your personal opinion may be different. You may not like Russia, you may not, why are you importing, that's a different issue. Okay. But the very fact that there's a government policy is there, that we're importing oil from Russia, it's a government policy. And you are being selected for what? Government service? Yes or no? Yes? So, yes. So, don't negate it, number one. So, how to make it logical? That's what things are concerned. So, we import almost 80 to 90% of our oil and gas requirements abroad because we don't produce ourselves. And when the Ukraine war took place, the Russian oil was being made available cheaper to us, and every saving in the international market as far as the oil is concerned, it saves a huge amount of money, and it is not violating any international rules of the game. Hence, it was logical for us to import oil. Sequential, yes, it started during this thing. We were not importing oil before. It started during that time. And at that time, there was the crisis which took place even in the Middle East, because the war has started between Israel and Hamas. The Iranians were under sanction. We were under tremendous pressure. So it is in this geopolitical shift that took place that we decided to purchase oil from Russia. Simple, yes, we brought the oil, sir, and not that only we used it. We carried out the refinement of it through refineries. Even we sold it to the other countries also. It's not that we are only beneficiary of that. And to the point, in the sense, we have not violated or put any problem with other countries where we are importing. We continue to get oil from our main sources of Iraq and Iran and Venezuela. But then this was available, so we got it. So in my way of thinking, sir, that we have not committed any diplomatic oversight in importing oil from Russia. I'm not sitting for the interview, but don't you think if I had given this answer, the interviewing officers will be happy, or yes or no? But on the contrary, if my answer was, let's say, instance, which normally happens, yes, sir, you're right, but India was actually importing oil, but it could have imported less oil, something, you start this thing. Though I agree, sir, we are importing oil from Russia, but then if United States is telling not to buy, we should not buy it, okay. Or you are not able to give very, very sequential answer to that. They are not very pleasing answers. So your power of expression has to have these 4 elements which I mentioned. So what is the task that is in front of you? You have to now see what are the likely questions that you're going to get, okay, and frame your answers in these 4 patterns, in logical and sequential pattern. Since the time is limited, don't make more than 5 points of any questions. Just give 5 points. If you're able to remember 1 point, then you're able to get another 2-3 points. Because when you're sitting there, when you try to think and speak, if you're prepared, then it comes immediately. Otherwise, you study coach, you're doing guesswork. You must have studied the same thing in your preparation for mains. You must study the same thing during your class interaction. But what is required is that in the little time that you have, and mind you, we don't have more than 25 to 30 minutes per candidates, max. And we make impression within the first 10-15 minutes. So if at that point of time you are not logical or not sequential or not trying to give pinpointed answer, then you lost half the battle. You have lost half the battle, let me tell you this. For all you know, the other questions will not even ask you in the proper manner. If you don't find your power of understanding and your logical and your power of expression adequate. You may take 15-20 minutes more, but it will all be of no consequence to you. So these 2 questions will make the difference for a success and failure. So far, so good. Any questions till now? Let me before this thing, because I'm sure you must be having questions. I thought of putting it to the end, but let me ask you now, because they are the 2 most important, which have 60% of your questions come from here. Then I'll tell you from where is the question coming. You start with anything which is controversial. You say, okay, sir, these are 2 aspects to it. One is an advantage and second is disadvantage. Okay. I feel the advantage of this question is 1, 2, 3. The disadvantage is one, because it's a controversial. Eh? Not necessarily. If they ask you, then you may take a stance. Be diplomatic. Don't put your foot in a wrong this thing. Okay. You will put in a foot in a wrong this thing, then they'll not able to answer. If they ask you, what's your opinion? Sir, I feel this point is what I feel so. Okay. So, interview ठीक भलो करिया पाई doesn't mean that you have to speak all the time. Doesn't mean that you are verbose. Doesn't mean that you are speaking loudly. Doesn't mean that you are trying to, you feel that sabbu question I have to answer. No. Even if you don't answer 30% of the question, is still good enough. Let me tell you this, because we don't expect people to know all the answers to all the questions. This is beyond human capability. But whatever you answer, jaha bhi tumhe karibo, it should be absolutely following this principle that I just told you. And it's a question of practice. So coming back to first thing that I asked, ki कौन सेंती पचारिबा मु तो सब जानि छि सेठी कहि देबी करिकि सेठी कहि देबेनी. And it happens, this is a practical thing. So the answer is don't leave anything for chances. Okay? Any other question on this? These 2 points. Power of comprehension, power of expression. Yeah. If you ask one wrong question, answer. How do I? See, if you have given a wrong answer, let us take it. Okay. And if the interviewing officer is concerned, no. So, Jyoti, this is not a correct answer. Okay. So, I'm sorry. I think I made a wrong attempt on this particular thing. Can I have the next question, please? Immediately cut it short. Don't try to prolong it. Don't try to justify wrong. If an interviewing officer, for whatever reason, you may be very convinced that it is the right answer, but interviewing officer goes wrong only. Okay, for God's sake, accept it. Okay, so bahaduri karike koi na. But mu jani chi jamti. This is right, sir. Mu padichi, sir. I can quote you page number ABCD, page number 80 of volume so and so. You are not there to test your knowledge. Okay. Very point. Sometimes even we provoke you, we irritate you. Let me tell you, they are all designs, by designs. And that is if you are doing well. If you are doing well, usually in UPSC, what happens is that if a guy is around 170, 180, we know that unless he crosses 190, 200, 190 plus, it's difficult to get the IAS. So sometimes we emotionally provoke him also. Sometimes we make him angry just to see how is this person reacting. He must be that person thinking, yaar, ये कर क्या रहे हैं लोग, मैं तो अच्छा कर रहा हूँ, अच्छा वाला कर रहा हूँ, उल्टे सुल्टे सवाल क्यों पूछे जा रहे हैं मुझे? You are seeing your emotional resilience. Even here also, OPSC tikke com, OSRE, because the time is limited, everything is limited. We straightway come to these 2 factors, okay, that you see. The third that we see is your general awareness. Okay, here is a distinct difference between UPSC and OPSC. Yeah. Yes, sir, I have not got the question. Can I have the question again? Okay. Don't use repeat. Avoid use like, sir, can you repeat the question? No. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Supposing got a question, you don't know, sir, I don't know the answer. Sir, can I have the next question? If the next question we ask and you still don't know, give a little smile, sir, even this is bold me. This is I don't know. Third question, if you actually don't know, you say, sir, I don't know the full question, but if you permit me, can I make a try? If you permit me, can I? Yes. This is absolutely okay.
For example, sir, there is sequence, for example, there is a issue-based question, and I don't know 100% about the context. So I don't work with
90% of the question you will not know. 100 base. 99%. So, sir, but if a question answer you do not know more than 50%, let's say 40 to 50% or less than that also. Okay, sir, don't have the full answer, but if you permit me, can I make a try? Because then they start guessing ki kete samay achi, kete kon achi, what is the thing like, if they already assessed you and you found it to be good, okay, ठीक, it doesn't matter, go ahead. But if they've still not been able to assess you, कि यार पिलर कितना दम अच्छी, तो अच्छा ठीक है, try कर ले थोड़ा सा. So this is all an art. There is no science in it. Okay, it's all an art. So be very polite. Yes, sir, I have not been able to get the question. Can I have the question again, please? Getting my point? Okay. Or can I make a try? Very politely. Don't say, sir, please repeat the question. Because you are in a state of nervousness. Okay. What I'm giving you example is live example, let me tell you, because I must have done at least more than, I think, 30,000 interviews at the civil services, at the PSC level and UPSC level. And this is a live practical thing. Okay, you got the answer? You got the answer? Any other questions on this? Okay. So avoid them as much as possible, sidetrack them as much as possible. Okay. But you see, everything is political, frankly speaking. Unless somebody asks you about very core things like BJP value kona, RSS value kona, Congress or kona, even Congress manifesto, BJP manifesto is still okay. They are not Let's not take politics everything negative. After all, we have political systems. We have political authorities. We have political executives. Okay, they are not negative. But when it comes to brass core political questions, say MLA ta kahin jitla sethi, se kahin ke hari gala, okay, se MLA ko kahin jail pura haitila, right? You may still get to know, but then if you know the answer, but if you don't know the answer, just sidetrack it as much as possible. But there is a very thin line as far as politics and other things are because it's so enmeshed in the whole system. Because you guys are expected to know the constitution. Can any constitution be without politics? It can't be. Because when you talk of politicking, obviously it's negative. Political theory, we study political theory. There are political scientists, there are political issues. So how can you say that negative? See, the government is trying to push in 130th Amendment bill in the Constitution. Now, if the question comes, can you tell me the salient aspects of the government's proposal of the 130th Amendment? Yes, you have to say that the government is trying that any elected leader, okay, if he's even if not fully convicted, okay, but is put in jail for more than 30 days, okay, has to relinquish his post. Right? You say you justify it. Everything's a concern. Sir, it's a wonderful thing. But then they will ask you the next question, that don't you think it's a violation of the basic features of the Constitution? You understand what are the basic features? Okay. So then you should be very clear that they are asking a very straight question. It's not a political question. But if the question is that, don't you think that with this particular thing, the government is going to arm twist the chief ministers and everybody, especially of the opposition states? Okay. and is going to have a political issue out of it. You know that the interviewing officer is trying to take you to some line to put you in a corner. You say, yes, sir, you can't deny this particular fact. Okay, but there have been so many acts in the past, whether you take a POSCO or you take other anti-terrorist act or anti-money laundering act for that matter. Okay, these have got implications. It can be used both ways. But doesn't mean that we don't make acts to ensure. Because then you have to put the government line, what the Prime Minister said, that he said, I don't think any country in the world has that an elected leader, after having put into the jail, is operating from the jail itself. He's signing files from the jail. He's not resigning. Firstly, I consider the moral value that if you have been put in jail and if the court has supported you putting in jail, you have not got a bail, that means there is a case against that person. Only thing that has not been proved. Okay, though our laws of the land says what? You cannot be proved guilty unless you are innocent till proven guilty. But that in our system it takes time. But if the court has not accepted an appeal, bail, that means there is something in the crime. And how can is that, he stays in a jail for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and starts ruling the system from there? Does it ever happen? In the government service, if you are, if a charge sheet is put onto you, you are expected to put on suspension. So how can an elected leader who is answerable to so many things, since this is a little controversial, take the government line? If you have to ask me to explain to you the counter of it also, I can convince you that 130 is useless. But don't do that for timing. 130 amendment is very fresh. You might get question yes or no. So be very particular on these issues. Take the government line, but with convictions. Okay, don't start going against the government on these questions. I know it is controversial, the amendment, but don't get into controversy there, because your aim is what? Number. मुझे number चाहिए. समझ में आ रहा है? Be very, very ruthless in your approach. After that, you can keep talking anything you feel like. But my point. Life में sometimes you got to be very, very professional, very this thing. मुझे तो number चाहिए किस हालत में. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? ठीक है? Don't be emotional there. Did that answer question? Eh? See, that shows, your power of understanding and comprehension, because nothing that the government tries to propose is without research and without validation, without thought process. Maybe we do not have access to that particular thing. Say, for instance, what a Subhadra scheme we spoke about. Schemes are not approved by the government just as whims and fancy. Kali Chief Minister को मन हैला को चलो सबू स्त्री लोगों को 5,000 टका दे दियो ना दे दो सुभद्रा. It doesn't happen like this. There is a whole thought process which goes into that. There's a ministry which works on that, the complete paper which is this thing, validation set up हुए. Okay, then it comes to it. Now the thing of Subhadra is that there are so many people in our rural areas, especially women, who do not get pensions, who do not get the benefit of this thing. गरीब लोग कहते हैं ताको चावल मिल जाऊँची, सबू मिल जाऊँची, but काली जो दी निजो पाएं किसी उड़े जिनसो किन्हें को जिबे, okay, ताको पर दी पैसा नहीं. So that it gives out, you see, for women, you tell somebody that this 100 rupees is for you. There are so many girls around here. Let me tell you, it's a huge thing. A sort of more. Okay, it gives a different identity to that particular woman. Or even for men also, because till such I'm not earning. Supposing your dad gives you pocket money that this 100 rupees for pocket money. Don't you feel thrilled on that? Ki paisa ta more boli. You start getting mo pakhare 100 taka achi mu kiche kharcha kari paribi. So say self identity ra taku preserve kariya pai one of the things which started, and this scheme was started actually by government of Rajasthan. It was found to be very, very successful. So the government of Odisha studied that particular proposal, got it implemented. It took almost 2 years to validate that particular proposal. And it's just started. It doesn't happen कि खाली नवीन पटनायक को इच्छा है कि उन्हें समर्थन को 5-6 हजार टाका दे देवी. Okay, it doesn't happen like this. Okay, so when the scheme comes, is always worthwhile going to the website of that official website. Say Subhadra must have been by Ministry of Social Justice and Women Empowerment. I don't wonder which ministry it is, department. Women and Child Welfare. Okay. Log on to that particular official website. Okay. You will see the complete rationale. Ki Subhadra kahin kahin hinchi karke. Okay. So if you read this time, okay. So anything, any project which is offering that you feel ki questions might come up, open the official website of the government and read it. You will get a lot of access to the information. Okay, rather than reading too many views in the newspapers or in the social media and trying to make your opinions out of that, always go through the official websites, okay, and try to make your notes out of that. You'll always be, you'll know, got to know the rationale, what a scheme, any scheme for that matter. Okay. Recently, government has announced a lot of initiatives. Manufacturing semiconductors in Odisha. Okay. You must read in detail. What is the manufacturing? Why the semiconductor thing is coming in Odisha? What is the need for it now? Is there any problem in having the semiconductors? Is it a part of the overall mission that we are doing it, or just it is being given to Odisha? What is the advantage of having it in Odisha? All these aspects of the new announcements has to be taken to. The government has recently announced a big bypass, ring road. So you must know the correct alignment. So bypass tell me something about it. So if you have not read in detail, you will only answer in hazy. Yes, sir, the Prime Minister has announced, the government has announced that is going to link up, it will bypass Bhubaneswar and Cuttack and so on. So it will going to decongest a lot many this thing. Okay. And this has been recently announced. It is going to cost something, I remember, some few thousand crores or 5,000 crores. Okay, like this. But if you read it properly, sir, this bypass is going to start from place so and so, so and so. It's a total distance 118 kilometers, whatever it is there. Okay, so 11 kilometers. It is going to pass through A, B, C, D, E, F, so and so. Okay, the total cost is 8,000 so and so crores. It will take approximately 2 years to make it. Bullet form. Simple. Tuck, 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 tuck. ଶୁଣୁଛି ପିଲାଟେ ବଢ଼ିଆ ହେଇଛି. He knows the details. ଖାଲି ପେପର ପଢ଼ିନି, ଏ ପେପର ଭିତରକୁ ଯାଇକି ପଢ଼ିଛି. You made the day. One odd question. You make the interview by answering only 2-3 questions. Let me tell you, out of 10-15 questions that will be asked in the span of time, if you just answer 2-3 questions properly, you made the day. And that comes in details, what I told you. Both answers are correct. The first answer which I told you, you have not told anything wrong. Ki sir, yes, it has come out in the paper. Se would start hochi pura bypass karki jibo Bhubaneswar Cuttack heki aur ja milibo sir seta che heki au it will cost some 5,000 crore. Muta detail ta jani ni, but presently government has announced it, sir. Okay, it is going to help decongest so and so. So there is nothing wrong in this answer. Is there anything wrong in this answer? But which is a better answer, this one or the second one? Yes or no? Because you have gone to details. You'll be surprised sometimes to check your power of expression. We ask you very simple thing. Acha tama ko test cha tame? Sir, mu Sambalpur aschi. Acha, can you describe a journey from Sambalpur to this place? Se kaho yaar, mu to voice pari hai. Kaun hai? Oh, he wants me to be a poet or something. Huh? Wants to describe journey. ସେ ସାର୍ ମୁଁ ରାତିରେ ବସିଲି ଗାଡ଼ିରେ ବସିଲି ସମ୍ବଲପୁର ରାତିରେ ସକାଳେ ପହଞ୍ଚିଗଲି ତାପରେ ଏଠି ଇଣ୍ଟରଭ୍ୟୁ ପହଞ୍ଚିଗଲି ବସ୍ରେ ଆସିଥିଲି ସାର୍ but if your answer is sir yes I'll explain to you sir actually my house in Sambalpur is at so and so place. I started my bus was at 10 o'clock in the night bus. I took auto rickshaw. My dad came and dropped me in so and so. ମୁଁ ରାତି 10টাରେ bus ଧରିଲି and it was a night bus. It took the route of Angul and so and so. It had a night halt at Angul for so and so time. I reached morning Cuttack at so and so time. Then after reaching, I took a rickshaw, I took an auto, I went to my friend's place or I went to my Mausi place. I went there, I had a change. Okay, from there after having a bath and everything, I got ready because my timing for the interview was at 11 o'clock, but my reporting time is 9 o'clock. So I left my home at 8:30. Sir, I was taught at this thing at 9 o'clock out here and I'm well here, sir. Both the answers are okay or not? But which answer is going to appeal to the interview? Second one, isn't it? So this is the sequential. Yes, got it. First is sir, ମୁଁ ତ କହିଲି କ'ଣ ମୁଁ ତ OSI ବଟେ ମୁଁ ସମ୍ବଲପୁର ଆସିଲି କ'ଣ ମୋତେ ପଚାରୁଛନ୍ତି ହାଉ ଡଜ୍ ଇଟ୍ ମ୍ୟାଟର ମୁଁ ବସ୍ରେ ଆସିଲି କି ପ୍ଲେନ୍ରେ ଆସିଲି କି ଚାଲି ଚାଲି ଆସିଲି ମୁଁ କ'ଣ ଖରାପ OSI ଅଫିସର ହେଇଯିବି ନା କ'ଣ? People really think like this and start hesitating in their mind sometime. ये मत कौन क्वेश्चन मुझे आसी जिओ स्ट्राटेजिक पढ़ी आसी इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस पढ़ी आसी मत एटा पचारे कथा एटा मत पचार ओके ओके कमिंग बैक टू थर्ड फैक्टर दैट आई टोल्ड यू जनरल अवेयरनेस इन जनरल अवेयरनेस 30% of the questions you must devote on Odisha minimum 30% starting from government policies Odisha's culture okay recent happenings that has taken place Jagannath temple stampede hegala amak hegala okay then there is some problem of law and order which is taking place there is you find couple of good suicide if I read the papers nowadays some people hanging some people so and so okay so 30% of the things which has happened in Odisha should be on your fingertips both policy and also recent and balance 60-70% should be your national things. Now in your national things that are general awareness again is a huge thing. You home on to something called your own, in UPSC you call it DAF paper. Do they still make you write something here? About your own this thing, self-assessment form, self-description? Okay. So तादेर तम स्कूल थिबो तम कॉलेज थिबो तम ये थिबो कोठी पढ़िछ ये कर से कर सब तम हॉबीज दिस दैट लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आर देयर ओके concentrate deeply on that if you studied from Sanatan Nalini high school or college in Cuttack who is Sanatan Nalini okay the names of your schools colleges जो to derive ହେଇଛି please get into the history of that particular thing. If you are a engineering student, say for instance, you have done your BTech in agriculture, science, try to learn the basics of that. You will always get questions on the fundamentals of things. कि तुम्हारा fundamental knowledge ta kaun. To mechanical engineers, you know, many times आजकल तो how many engineers are here? Oh, quite high, as far as things are concerned. Okay, get into some fundamental questions. Even if it is OS, we just want to see many mechanical questions. As well, तमें किसी न वाले मते खाली explain करो. What do you understand by this term mechanical advantage? It may not have any bearing on your OS, but you want to know whether your fundamentals are strong or not. Just tell me what is the difference between a force and a torque. Any mechanical engineer student? हाँ. ये पढ़ा होगा अपने फर्स्ट ईयर में तुमने पढ़ा होगा ठीक है ना फोर्स टॉर्क हो गया व्हाट इज जूल्स हो गया व्हाट इज न्यूटन्स फर्स्ट लॉ व्हाट इज द thermodynamics okay so answer is that please go through a first year process of all people who are technical, whether whatever your tamara ye kon subject kon agriculture hi dakho. We'll ask you a lot of questions agriculture. Agriculture, of course, not that much technical, but application of agriculture. So, tamara jaha fundamental subject achi. Out of that balance 70% that I just told you, be assured that almost 20% of the questions are going to come from your fundamental subject or your optional. Whatever optional you've taken. 20%. So, what is the answer? Answer that you got to rehash the fundamental, the basics. You must be knowing a lot of things, but start going through the basics. Start going through the basics. If you're an electrical engineer, if you're a chemical engineer, whatever it is, okay, go back to your old this thing, start understanding, because all you know, there could be a mechanical engineer sitting there, because we have a mixed panel for interviews. And some guy may be an IS officer, maybe an OS officer, whatever it is, but his background must be mechanical engineer. He'll ask you something about mechanical engineering. Just to test ki tame se basic types of fundamental, because one of the fundamental thing of personality assessment is that if a person's basics are appropriate, good, they are strong, he or she is likely to go to be a good personality. This is a fundamental thought process prevalent all over the world, whether you are here in corporate or anywhere for that matter. जहाँ कहती कि मजबूत कहती कि फाउंडेशन आज जब स्ट्रंग अच्छी गोटे बिल्डिंग रो फाउंडेशन स्ट्रंग अच्छी से बिल्डिंग टा सब स्ट्रंग रहबे कि नहीं रहबो हैं यस और नो सेमिति तमे जदि साइंस पढ़िछ तमे जदि एग्रीकल्चर पढ़िछ तमे जदि इंजीनियरिंग पढ़िछ तमर सेही जिनसर फाउंडेशन टा जदि वीक हे गला ताले एंटायर थिंग्स विल गो वीक. You may argue that कि सर मु एटा तक बे अप्लाई करिबेनी, I am going to get into administration, but that besides the point, it is your intent and your type of thought process that matters to us. Because as OS officers or IS officers in administrators, civil services, you are not domain experts like other subjects. कि that मु खाली engineering रहिबी मु हम करबी. No. You are expected to serve all departments. All department मतलब कि you are expected to have that particular fundamental strong. Then you can handle any department. You can handle any department. In my career, whether in the army or both later in civil, I must have handled more than 8 to 10 departments, nothing related to my original subject. When I also came here to PSC out and I met my interview with the Chief Minister. So he told me that you have not served much in Odisha, can you handle it? But I said, I think the basic principles of administration remain the same. I shouldn't be able to, it will take me a little time to understand it, but I will be able to pick it up. And it didn't take much time for me to pick up things out here. Though I have to learn the civil services rules and वगैरह वगैरह सभी कुछ की. Similarly, when you go to your new assignments, you may be a mechanical engineer, but you might be sent to some agriculture department first or some finance department where you will have no knowledge, but your fundamentals are strong, then you can pick up anywhere. So when you are talking about this general awareness, so one of the offset thing that we look for in general awareness is your basic, your fundamental strength. If you are an art student or a history student, obviously we will ask you history. If you are a geography student and your options are geography nature, we will obviously ask you geography. सेठी कहबेनी कि सर मु तो भूली गलेनी मु खाली परीक्षा पे पढ़िथिली आ मु तो भूली गलेनी ना. You are going for a test, assessment. Revise your subjects, revise everything. Get my point? Okay. Yes, there's a fear that people ask you, tell me, in the olden days, people used to ask questions like, कहो कि हीराकुद डैम रो लंबा केते, width केते, height केते, Eiffel Tower height केते, पचारुथिले. But those have come down. Some very, very conservative interviewing officers will ask you. Even if you are not able to answer, don't get much worried about that. कि मु हीराकुद डैम रो लंबा कहि पाइले नहीं. That is meaningless. Okay. But the fact is, as long as you know that it is one of the longest bridges, in the world. Okay. You say, sir, I am forgetting the actual distance. Okay, good enough. But don't feel totally morose. Oof, oh, पचारे गला सॉरी गला हीराकुद मु कहि पारली नहीं गला पूरा गला. Ask sometimes कि how old is Katak? How many? केते वर्ष पूर्ण करके? We will start sweating. अरे कटक केते वर्ष मु जानी नहीं. गला मोर वेस गला त भात. And let me get ready for the next year. No, how does it matter? But you know the Katak is an old city. It's approximately 1,000 years old. Even if you say it's a Purna, but exactly I don't know, but definitely it's more than 500 years. We are somewhere close. But there is no reason for you to start perspiring. कि मु Katak केते पूर्ण में जानी नहीं. Which college, let's say you are from Ramadevi College, let's say for instance. Now who is Ramadevi? You are supposed to expect to know who is Ramadevi. Okay, this is a very fundamental question because Ramadevi must be in your blood for at least 4 years. पाठ पढ़थिबो तापर सबु परीक्षा लिखिछ I am a student of Ramadevi. Sorry, तमर सर्टिफिकेट सो लिखा है कि नहीं Ramadevi. Just give an example कि रेवेन्सा फलाना है कि BJP बक्सी जगबंधु whichever college. But supposing you can't say who is Boxy Jagabandhu and who is Revansha or who is Ramadevi, are you going to get a good impression? It may not matter to you in your later life when you become a OS officer, whatever it is there. But here it matters. You getting the difference? Ko college? OUT. OUT full form कौन? केवल रेज है तला. Who is the first vice chancellor? एमितो कल हबो सिंती. This thing on your fingertips. Who is the present vice chancellor? देखो. How can you? तमर निजर alma mater OUT is such a prestigious institution, university. केवे pass out कल? 18 was age. You are not past 20 years back. Okay. You should remember who the vice chancellor is, isn't it? How many from agriculture background, OUT background? Raise your hands. Only 3, but usually I used to find it is more. OUT wala. Sometime back you'll be surprised, I was about to stop the OUT entry for preparing civil services because they were taking quite a large number of vacancies and we were not getting adequate amount of people in the agriculture department. AO so there was a talk in the government. I said no, this will be depriving those people. So coming back to what you're talking is that knowing basics, knowing fundamentals of your institutions, of your alma mater, of your basic subjects, your optional, vagra, is imperative. What is imperative? That is essential. That is essential. And Jalna sir told you that if you are a history student, you must brush up your history of Odisha. If you are a geography student, must brush up the geography of Odisha. Ketata nodi achi. Tell me the sequence of the rivers, say for instance from north to south, south to north. Tell me the origin of Mahanadi. What is the length of the Mahanadi before it moves into the Bay of Bengal? and so on and so forth. Because they are geography questions. If I want to know about Odisha, then obviously something about India. What is the forest cover of Odisha as compared to the forest cover of Odisha? What is the percentage as compared to the Indian overall forest cover? What is the wildlife population of Odisha? And so on and so forth. Thak questions. So, जो subject तमे करिचो, whether you take an option or this is a basic subject for that matter, please be absolutely thorough, both at the state level and also at the central government level. Then comes your knowledge of current affairs. You must know all international activity that has taken place in last 2 years. And last 1 year, important international activities, make notes out of that. So there is no excuse of not knowing major international issues, okay, and also national issues that has happened in last 2 years. That takes quite a chunk of it. I gave you an example of recent happenings, major things. You have your wars taking place in Ukraine and Russia. You have wars taking place in Israel and Hamas. There was a recent war that took place between Iran and the Israelis. The Americans bombed the nuclear installation of Iran, and so on and so forth. Major things is taking place. There was a peace agreement, peace initiative which took place between President Putin and President Trump, and so on and so forth. There are so many things which has happened in the geopolitical front, geostrategic front. Unless you note them down at international level and national level and make small notes, you will not be able to decipher it. But you will not be able to speak the manner it's supposed to be, what I call the power of expression. Just merely responding or uttering is not an answer. Answer is following the 4 golden principles of power of expression. That's called an answer. And the last we see is your leadership and crisis management. That is, we usually put you through situations. Say you are the district collector of so-and-so place. There's a flood which has taken place. There's an epidemic which has hit. Or you're an SP of a particular place. Okay. And there's a riot which has taken place. Or you have joined as a new OS officer. Okay. There's a land revenue problem in your block. How will you handle that particular problem? So there are many such situational questions which are available in your, various institute must be trying to tell you. Okay, also in the net. Try to go through that. Especially on implementation of government schemes. There's so many government schemes, like what do you understand by Manrega for that matter? Do you think Manrega is a successful policy? Or say you are posted as a BDO, Block Development Officer. How will you ensure that the Manrega scheme is implemented to the effective way? How do you ensure that the agricultural reforms of trying to have mandis getting commercialized, okay, are going to get effective? How do you ensure that your last rich digital economy of money being sent to the last is being implemented? I'm just giving an example. So take out those schemes of the government of Odisha which is taking place in the last 1 or 2 years. See how this to be implemented. Place yourself for timing. Make little groups among yourself. 4-5 জন মিশি group করো কি okay ঠিক আছে এটা ওটা আমার স্কিম আছে, let us say how we should implement and forget यारे सिमु कहि देले से मोर ताठू बेसी नंबर मिल जिवो मार्क मिल जिवो. No, have that little confidence among yourselves. I'll ask your organizers, to have such things done up. Because this is where we tend to see how deep you can go. So this is where the leadership and the crisis management thing comes in. So as I told you, just to sum up the thing that I was trying to mention to you. Okay. My time, okay. Mention to you is that it is a very, very important test, the third test, phase of a test. Even if you get 5 to 10 marks extra than your peers, than your competition, you can make a difference between pass and fail, or between OS and other services. Just 5 to 10 marks. And this 5 to 10 marks difference comes not because of overall conduct, because of one odd question that you are able to do it very well or not do it very well. Okay. And your ability to go into details of what I just mentioned to you, to develop those 5 golden principles of what we normally look for you in an interview. Just to sum it up and repeat it, it is power of comprehension, power of expression, general awareness, leadership, and situational emergence. You master this, and you would have mastered this particular test. Thank you very much. In case you have any questions, you can let me know. Yeah. Huh? Just say loudly. The greet. How you can speak in English? Good morning, sir. There's no problem. Okay. No requirement to do namaste and padachuma something. Okay. You just say good morning. It's a test. You're going with honor. So good morning, sir. That's all. They'll say, okay, sit down. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Or if it's madam, thank you, madam. Okay. No, not necessary. Sir, good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. That's all. Okay. It's just a general wish. You don't say good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. Good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. Okay. Not required. Getting my point? Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. That's all. Twice. Third ka. Char thar basle char thar kaya darkar nahi. Okay. Question, yes or no? Okay, what else? कौन अब तक को एत्ते issue करेनी, it doesn't make issue. Okay, if you get stuck up, you can speak in Odia, because since the medium is English, okay, speak in English. But if some people have little difficulty in speaking Odia, but have they introduced Odia medium or choice of this thing? The choice, China? In case, this choice was later introduced, I remember, like we have done in UPSC also. You can do it in Hindi. So, but you have to tell it in the beginning, that my medium of interview is Odia or English. Okay. Odia कहो कि तायतर English Odia पर भूल ठीक ठाक नहीं. If you are telling English, but English कहो को टिके जदि Odia आसी गला कितो असुविधा नहीं. Because we understand the practicalities, we do feel that, but we are not trying to check your language ability here. We're just trying to check all the 5 qualities here. Okay. As long as you know what is it that the board wants to test me, you should be very careful. Otherwise, in the absence of knowledge, of not knowing what the board wants to test me, you keep thinking differently. Yeah. +2 साइंस ले तापर चेंज कर लो. they do political science. Okay. Normally, they will not go down to +2 level, but somebody asks, "Aap kahe ki change kar liye political science ko?" A simple question, just to check your personality. Ki, okay, this thing. So you say, ki, yes, I changed to +2, and sometimes it is genuine. Wherever I am +2, so karidu on somebody else's advice. Papa कहले, तू science पढ़िबू, तू engineering पढ़िबू, okay. तो बापाଙ୍କର ଅଲଗା डायमेंशन कि मो पुओ पढ़ुची साइंस, मो पुओ पढ़ुची टेक्नोलॉजी, झियो पढ़ुची अमुक धमक करके, because where we feel we tend to push our children. I have spoken quite largely on this particular subject at many forums. In fact, sometimes the parents are one of the biggest culprits in the career profile of their children. Let me tell you this. They want to tell people कि मो पुओ जो पढ़ुची engineering. अरे he may not be interested in engineering, yeah? But the fact is, yes. So a lot of damage is being done because of the social factor. That more science, but why should everybody study science? It's not necessary. So the correct answer is that yes, I studied science, but I found that science is not suiting me, I'm not performing well. I made a conscious decision to change. Very simple as that. Very simple. It was my decision. You always say, it was my decision. Getting my point? Oh.
There might be some questions that we know very little about, or we are aware about it, but we don't know the nitty-gritty details. So how do we approach?
I just mentioned to you, because I don't know the full answer to this question, but if you permit me, can I make a try? Okay. It depends upon his personality, your personality. Okay. Getting my point? So be very polite in asking. And those people who are not very clear on these small things, keep practicing. Mirror samne thiya hai ki practice karo. Ki mu jati question na asle mu kemiti pacharibi. Na katle pun sedi koi, sir, please repeat the question again. There is nothing wrong. Grammatically, this, that, everything is correct. Repeating. But etiquette wise. Okay. अरे कोई पिलाड़े थी जाने नहीं अरे इंटरव्यू repeat the question. There is nothing wrong. You may debate कि सर इतने खराब भूल कौन मुझे तो कहले कहले आउथर को बोली. You are just translating your Odia into English. मुझे तो कहले सर आउथर को मुझे तो बुझी पारली नहीं इतने भूल कौन है ला मोरो. Okay. But etiquette wise, what is better? Sir, can I have the question again, sir? Can I try again, sir? I have not understood the question fully. Okay, but if you permit me, can I make a try? So you have thrown the ball into his court. Okay. That's सेवा पिलाटा ठीक अच्छे चल आउट क्वेश्चन पचार दूची. Okay, so you have not offended him. So you have rather thrown the ball into, sir, if you permit me. That's all. Permit नहीं कर रहा ठीक है अगले क्वेश्चन पूछ लेना क्या फर्क पड़ता है. ठीक है मर्जी आपका है मार्क आप ही दोगे. Yeah, understood. Any other question? Yeah, this girl. Yeah. See, you go with the premise that you will be asked questions in geology. If you are not asked, that's a different issue. Okay, but if you are asked and you are not able to answer, then that goes against you. So whatever relevant question that you feel is appropriate, your geology or zoology? Geology. Okay, be ready to ask some question. As geologists, you must know what is the overall soil structure of the state, what is the mineral structure of the state, what is the reserves of the state. Okay, so there are many things, and in any case, we are a mineral-rich state, where geology plays a very major role on these issues. Today, geology related to climate. Okay, so be prepared with those questions. Why should you think that you will not be questioned? Because as I told you, the wisdom lies is that since it is my optional or my basic subject, I'm quite likely to be asked a question. Okay? Quite likely to be asked the question. But if you're not prepared yourself, then apparently the mistake is yours. Have I answered a question, young lady? Yeah. There's somebody else behind. Quite relevant. They will ask you. Oh, they will ask you. Because not many people come from jobs experiences. So we would like to know what is experience in a previous job. What is your role like? What is assignment like? In fact, we will ask you questions like, can you tell me one odd incident where you have been appreciated in your previous job? One odd incident where you feel that you have not been very, very adequately treated or wronged in a previous system. Okay, or many things of jobs can be asked. But job questions definitely will ask you. They'll ask.
If after we have a gap years, few gap years,
Yes. If at all it's a genuine gap you're taken for preparation, it's good enough. You say, sir, civil services requires extensive preparation, and it was not possible for me to do justice being in job and prepare. So I took a call. So I had to leave my job, take 2 years break, and prepare for it. He says, don't you think you have taken a risk? Yes, sir, but the point is, I know my capability. I will not be able to do 2 tasks. So you are conveying your personality through a simple answer by showing your humbleness and humility, by saying, sir, I really know my capability, sir. So I can't take that risk. So I thought, let me take it to this thing. Sometimes you express your sense of humility and humbleness through different ways or means also. Okay. Yeah. Eh? 6 years. Doesn't matter. You say, see, sir, I am determined because I presume your dad must be economically well off to support you for 6 years. You are not doing work, you are just preparing for this. So this can only happen if your parents' economic status is adequate for you to support this, because it doesn't happen that 6 years if your parents are not adequately well off to support you, maximum 2 ବର୍ଷ କରିବେ 3 ବର୍ଷ କରିବେ, but 6 ବର୍ଷ ତ ମୁସ୍କିଲ ହେଉଛି. Because sir, yes, my interest lies in civil services, and presently I do not have economic challenges as far as myself is concerned. That's why I've taken the call. Okay. But don't you think they'll ask you, it's a little pretty long time? Yes, it's long time, but then I'm aware of people who have qualified, okay, and 4th and 5th chances, even at UPSC level, okay. So I'm quite sure that I'll be able to do this time. Okay. I know of a candidate who was actually with me, who was under my guidance. He's from Hyderabad. This guy failed 4 times in the he didn't even qualify for interview. Can you imagine? But in the 5th time, that's where he came across me. He was after me in Delhi. Anytime I went to Delhi, say phone kariba, sir, please mate time de diyantu. That shows the perseverance, And that's when I interacted with him. Actually, I could find out where his problem was. I told him just address these issues. And the 5th time, he not only cleared, he was one of the top 5 guys. He was the 4th position in the country. Okay. Tar UTB achi gude tara. So it's not that if you have this thing. So sometimes it requires little amount of intervention, by which there was another guy, IPS guy from Rajasthan cadre. Say continuously he was trying to upgrade himself to IAS. Then he came and contacted me. Somehow intervention hala pore. Last year he made it to IAS. So it happens. The point here is that sometimes, you have to find, if you have done, you are preparing for 6 years, it's something like going to a doctor, ki ette varsha mu hochi mo houni. So there is a good doctor and not so good doctor, and whatever is a competent doctor, they treat you. Similarly, you have to get into some sort of intervention in guidance and coaching. That's a different issue. But the fact is, if you are now qualified for the 6th time or the 4th time, don't feel absolutely at a disadvantage in the sense that but be prepared for the thing that tame 6 varsa kemiti rahila without taking care of yourself. Okay, that should be a very, very plausible and a viable answer that you should give to yourself. Great point, huh? And one of the best things, because I'm given a choice, I'm a 5 varsa, 6 varsa, 8 varsa, but not all parents can afford this, frankly speaking. Divas pare bapa tapda mare ja to try to get something else. I don't know, wasting time. Okay, because not that your father doesn't like you, but however he says, yeah, I can't economically support you for all times to come. So hobe kaun habo karke. That's a practical way of life as far as things are concerned. Okay, but knowing your chair, dad must be quite well off. Okay, na? So supporting you. Okay, so I'm sure you're going to clear this time. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. Yeah, any other question? Happy?
Yes, sir.
Go with confidence. Okay. Go with hope of success and not fear of failure. Right? And go with the aim that, yes, I will do it. And that's all. Okay? And I wish you all the best, all of you. Okay? And how many times are you appearing for the 2nd or 3rd time? 2nd time, anybody? Anybody going for the interview 2nd time? Huh? 2nd time, okay. Last time, so you saw that OPSC building totally renovated. Huh? When I joined, I was so disappointed to see that office. It was looking like a bhoot bangla to me. So Mukali, I took it a challenge to myself that I will change everything. Luckily, you must have seen the changes there. A lot of people have seen it. It's totally remodeled and got a new office sanction. I think already said, hey, sorry, Jiboni. Okay. So made a lot of changes to your commission. Things are concerned. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.